Hey there, everybody. Welcome back live at Drew's house. Another edition. Hope everybody's doing just fine. Moving right through January. Absolute craziness. And it's been another crazy week on Capitol Hill. President Trump becomes the first president to be impeached twice. Now, of course, the big news on the Hill this week. It seems like there's always something new going on in Washington, D.C. these days. I was just reading on Twitter a very funny moment. 1 week, Kamala Harris, put on Twitter, 1 week, meaning, this is when it was 1 week out, 1 week remaining of President Trump in power. And Kamala Harris, of course, saying the finish line's near. She said 1 week. And the Bare Naked Ladies wrote back. You remember the Bare Naked Ladies, the band? Remember those guys? They had that song, 1 week since you looked at me. Well, long story short, they answered in the form of a question, nice honor to Alex Trebek in Jeopardy, and said, 1 week, what is Vice President-elect Kamala Harris' favorite song? There you go. See? So nice job paying tribute to Jeopardy by the Bare Naked Ladies and making contact with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. So how about that? Fun little nugget I saw on Twitter. Just interesting. But yes, crazy time to be in Washington, crazy time to be on Capitol Hill. Of course, that storming was just horrible a couple weeks ago. All the officials all across the country trying to tell people that it's unacceptable. There'll be none of that. There were some warnings about other stuff going down at the capitals around the country. And, well, let's just not ever go through that again, huh? Dangerous, of course, deadly. Just a very sad story. But that's that. And, of course, it's a new regime coming in here with the Biden-Harris camp. So we'll see what that brings. Anyway, enough about politics. We don't do too much of that here. What we do a lot of is local newsmakers. I am going to be joined by an old friend of mine. First time, I believe, he's doing a Zoom show for us, but he used to come in the studio all the time. He is trying to lead the Newburyport boys basketball team through a pandemic season. I'm going to be joined by Coach Dave Clay of Newburyport. He's going to come in. We'll see how the year's going. I think there's some ball being played in mass. So, it's crazy times to be alive and crazy times to be a high school kid and a high school basketball coach in Newburyport. Dave Clay, let's bring him in right now. All right, Dave Clay, head coach of Newburyport basketball, longtime friend of the show. How are you there, Coach?
Great. How are you?
Good, man. Long time no see. Good to see you virtually, at least.
Yeah, it's great seeing you as well.
I know it's been it's been crazy. How's the well? Let's start with the family. How's everybody doing?
Everyone's doing great. Wife is teaching in Andover. Their school went back this week, and my daughter's doing great, and we have actually another one on the way, so we're excited about that. And
wow! Congratulations!
Thank you.
You guys are getting things done during the pandemic here. So how old's the first?
The first is 13. I said I'd never do the month thing, so she's like a year and a month old.
Year and a month. Okay. So you're going to be, are you sleeping at all? How does this work as a young dad?
When I can.
Understood. All right. So let's talk a little bit of basketball too. It's weird for me, man. I don't know. I'm used to being at a lot of your games by this point, calling some play-by-play, doing whatever, even just watching a basketball game. The idea of not being allowed in there is all very strange. What's it like?
Yeah, it's that's the first thing we realized was the environment, and it's no fault of anyone's. It's just not the same. The first game we questioned if the kids were even having fun, because it was just like, there's no crowd, and I'm realizing now how much of an impact that has in the game and how much the players feed off that. And not having that was tough, and we've tried to make some changes with our bench to keep it exciting at least.
Yeah, I noticed that just by watching the college games on TV. I mean, it is clear to me that the benches have even more responsibility. You guys got to be loud. You got to pump energy into this place. I'm assuming it's the same at the high school level as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so important right now in the game we're playing. Just to have that noise and that enthusiasm and that support, it's huge for the players on the court at that time.
A lot of people are out of the loop on this. Are players wearing masks during play? What's the deal?
Yeah, they're wearing masks the entire game. There is an area that they can go to and take their mask off to get, some fresh air for a little bit. And then they have to put their mask back on before they join the team at the bench. And if they're getting a water break, they can slide their mask up, drink water, then slide it back down.
I cannot imagine playing ball in a mask. I can't. That would. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I guess you get used to it. Anything to play, but coaches too. Is it easier or harder to yell at officials with a mask on?
I might keep a mask on for the rest of my career. This has just been, they're not hearing me mumble underneath my voice. They're not getting as mad at me anymore. So this is kind of a good thing.
It has saved you a couple technical fouls, huh?
Oh yeah.
That is too funny. Good answer. Dave Clay joining us, Newburyport head boys basketball coach. So what is that? I mean, obviously the kids struggled with no crowd a little bit. How have like the practices been? Because how do you differentiate like the game for a practice? Is it partly on the coaches? We got to get these guys ready into game mode. How does that all work?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but credit to the players in our program. They've really stepped up, and usually by now we're still in scrimmage mode. We usually have 3 or 4 scrimmages a year, and that's where everyone gets to play a lot and figure out their role. And this year it's a little bit different where we have to get right into action, and we weren't able to have any scrimmages, so we had to start playing right away. And it's tough for the kids because they may see someone playing more than them right now, but it could all change in a matter of a week, a couple days. So they really need to continue to show up and not pump themselves out.
And one thing just to hammer home too, for people who have never been to a Newburyport home basketball game, it affects every team not playing on their home court, but it's a real disadvantage for you guys because you use that as a huge advantage, that home court at Newburyport.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing that the players miss the most is we haven't had a home game yet, and I'm excited for when we do, but they really miss that environment. I mean, that's a big reason maybe why some of them start playing basketball to begin with. They see that crowd and they want to play in front of it, and now it's their time to do that, and it just can't happen.
What are the because high school kids, we've heard the stories. I've had some of them on here who got kind of ticked off at Governor Baker when he pointed the finger at the kids for spreading the virus. They kind of took that personally, some of them. I thought that was kind of funny. But what are you seeing at that high school level? I mean, is it are you having to remind your guys consistently, like, guys, be smart, or this is a privilege to play, so be smart, and if we are, we'll continue to play, or do you really not have to say that stuff?
I'm so fortunate, really. I have a lot of great people, not just basketball players, but just people in general. And they come from great families with parents who have raised them right. And it didn't take much to tell them to wear their mask and keep it on. And they've been doing great with it. We got on the bus last night after we played Linfield, and our bus driver, who's also from Newburyport, wanted to talk to them. So she was congratulating them on, I thought, what was going to be the win. But she congratulated them for consistently wearing their masks and never taking it down. She was very impressed that our guys were able to keep their masks up the entire game, where some other teams we've played, they have it below the nose, or it's kind of on, kind of off. But our guys have been great. They understand that, they need to do their part in order to keep the season alive and stop the spread. And I'm very proud of them because it's definitely a challenge.
What a cool story that is. And they're probably protecting Coach. You get a pregnant wife back home. We got to protect Coach, make sure the family stays healthy, right?
That's right. And everyone has, we have a few players on our team who have parents who are immune compromised. And I'm sure there's other kids who I don't even know that have immune compromised parents at home. So we're going to do everything in our that we can control to stay safe.
And do you guys have that responsibility as a team when you walk into another building too? Because I'm sure maybe some places are more strict, or I'm not sure what it's like, to be honest, walking into another gym, but I'm sure you want to be respectful of those other buildings that you're walking into as well.
100%. Yeah. So I'll give you a little, view of what that looks like, right? So we have to show up. We can't show up any earlier than a half hour before tip off. We have to wait for the JV team. We have to wait on the bus for the JV team to exit the gym, for them to sanitize the gym, and we have to be already changed as we walk on the court. So I still am asking my guys to wear a shirt and tie, so they wear their uniforms under that. And then we get there, they, stretch, get ready, and it's right to tip off. There's, and that not to segue off, but I think that's the biggest thing they're missing is that locker room environment. I mean, that's where a lot of friendships happen, a lot of teammate bonds, and the conversations that go further than anything you could have on the surface. And we're missing that aspect, but we understand that we can't use the locker rooms. I mean, just have to.
Yeah, I think anybody can relate to that. And you're so does that mean you're giving your pregame speech, which I've heard there's been some epic ones over the years. Is that taking place on the bus?
In respect to the bus drivers, it has not. So we haven't had many pregame speeches. We try to handle that all before we leave school, and we try to get them to visualize on the bus ride over of what they need to do for us to be successful. It's definitely a different feel, but once again, these guys are adapting real well.
There must be moments. I know you say you got a great group of guys, and it's all you couldn't ask for anything more, all that good stuff. But there have to be moments where just guys have a bad day. These are high school kids, and it's just they're fed up with it. Everybody's sick of this thing. I can imagine as a high schooler, it's just frustrating at times. I'm sure you've ran into some of those moments.
Yeah. To be honest, like nothing that I've seen in practice. I'm sure that is going on, and we're trying to do mental check-ins with our players weekly or bi-weekly on an individual basis so we can touch base with them on a personal level, because we know that, I've never coached in a pandemic before. I hope this is the only year I ever do, but kids are definitely struggling, and they may not show it on the surface because they want to be, have that Bravo kind of feel, but they're hurting. And we want to make sure that they're communicating with us when they need help.
Yeah, it's always, coaches are always good for that as well. It's funny to even think about coach. I mean, I'm sure you could never imagine coaching under these circumstances last year, when we're having you in the studio talking about great tournament runs. I do imagine that there's probably some part of even you who loves the game. You've always known how much of a part of your life it is, and a lot of your players, but maybe now it's, I will never take basketball for granted again.
No, never in my life. No. I was definitely scrambling when there was, we were at a point where we may not have a season. I was starting to reach out to New Hampshire coaches just so I could be in a gym for the winter and be around team. And, but I'm so grateful that people put in the work, and our AD and our administrators and our school committee really support us in having a season, because I can't tell you how beneficial it is for the kids that are able to play right now. And there's some mental health.
Yeah, it's probably an escape in a lot of ways. That's probably why you're not seeing a lot of those bad moments, because that's the fun part, right? This is normal. We're playing ball again. Yeah.
For 2 hours a day, we're back to normal, and then it's back to, the pandemic. But for those 2 hours, it's beautiful. It's awesome. I love it.
Again, excuse my not being able to watch any of these games. Any rule changes because of the pandemic? Is there, besides like the mask protocol, is there any actual rule changes?
Yeah, so there's no baseline out of bounds. So any foul on the baseline or any ball that would have gone out of bounds on the baseline at the hoop you're shooting at is now on the foul line extended on the sideline. So there's no baseline out of bounds plays. It's only sideline, which makes it very difficult to try to score in those situations. And then so the person guarding the inbounder has to be 6 feet from that person. But and then the other thing, which was I think the biggest game changer, was free throws. So it usually went from a strict defensive advantage where you had two down low, maybe 2 up high, and then you had an offensive player in the middle sandwiched in between. So it was like a 4-on-3 technically. And now it's pretty even. So there's only, 2 defenders on the low blocks, 2 offensive players, and a shooter. So it went from a 4-on-3 defensive advantage to now a 3-on-2 offensive advantage.
Interesting. What is the thought process on that from so they won't allow a baseline inbound? Is that because too many guys crash the net, or like
congestion? They're trying to eliminate that time where players are asked to be next to someone close. So with free throw, if there's a 2-shot free throw, on the first shot, no one's in the key. Everyone's at half court, like a technical foul. And then on the second shot, those 4 players are allowed to enter.
Interesting. I know it. That I can imagine some of your guys having a tough time with that. You do know I'm driving the lane with this guy all over me playing defense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think, I don't know if it makes a difference, these rule changes as far as stopping the spread. Because, right, we are playing man-to-man defense full court, and we're up in their face, and, we're diving for loose balls. There's tie-ups. There's all that stuff. But, these were the rules that needed to happen in order for us to play. So
it's funny. I was that just made me think of the Stan Van Gundy line from a couple of weeks ago. Did you see that? Where one of the teams they were playing, I think it was, who it was? It was Seth Curry, Steph's brother, and had like a lights out game, and then he tested positive for COVID. And they asked Stan, they said, you had a few guys guarding him that night. Are you worried about them testing positive? And he goes, no, did you see the night Seth had? We weren't within 6 feet of him all night.
That's a good one.
I thought that was a pretty good line. So
I like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there you go. You can use that at practice. If
I plan on it now.
We're not social distancing here on defense. Yeah.
Oh, far from it.
Well, that is interesting. Well, that's interesting. It has changed the game, though. I guess it's kind of like the mentality they have for corner kicks in soccer, right? They weren't allowing corner kicks because everybody bunches up in the box and looks for the header.
Exactly. So, yeah, same exact reasoning.
Gotcha. What is the coaches fraternity like these days? I can imagine you all go in, you have your morning coffee, maybe your afternoon coffee to get you going through the afternoon. And I can imagine there's a lot of stories like, how are we supposed to work in this environment?
Yeah. Well, it's tough because we really can't have lunch together,
That's true too. Yeah.
So,
you don't
like I see coaches in passing, and I was able to pick Sean Blue's brain and Kevin Sheridan, the who are the boys and girls soccer coaches, about, what they went through and what worked, what didn't, what caused controversy, what, all that stuff that, because, every person has their own view on this pandemic, and we're erring on the side of caution and trying to make sure we value everyone's opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really with the schools, I imagine, and like everything, right? I mean, if everybody's not going in the same direction, the whole thing just kind of crumbles down, right?
Yep, absolutely.
No matter what your individual beliefs are, it's for the sake of the program. That's what has to happen. In that regard, it's probably good to have. I know you guys all respect Kyle Hodson quite a bit. I have watching him from a distance. What has that been like to watch athletic directors work through all this?
Man, I would. He is amazing. I was talking to him a few days ago, and I think he had worked like 21 days in a row. He is doing everything in his power to make sure we have a full season as scheduled. He's gone above and beyond to make sure our facilities are clean and kept up to date and still looking pristine. He really is such a great asset to Newburyport High School athletics and Newburyport High School in general. It's what he's done is, I know he probably thinks nothing of it, like he's just doing his job. But in talking with other coaches, not just throughout our league, but other leagues, Kyle goes above and beyond to make sure these kids have a special experience, and he takes a lot of pride in it.
That's nice of you to say. And when you talk about other coaches in the league, I'm sure some of them, you talk about those opinions, I'm sure some of them, maybe you see their kids maybe not having the masks on the full way. Maybe you're playing against some of the teams like that. I mean, is it something where can you imagine any like COVID moments happening on the floor? Like, get your point guard to put the mask on the right way. And, do these things happen out there? Or?
Yeah. Like, last night I talked to the official, and I was just pleading with him, like, you can see what I'm seeing. Can we fix this here? Because my guys are adhering to everything that we've been asked to do, and we'd like that to be fair around the board. And he didn't. He addressed the issue with the team, but there's really nothing that can be done. They can ask the player to step off for a brief moment, then that player can check back in. It's
no technical fouls being given for this?
No, it's treated as if it's an untucked jersey. So if they were to go up to him and say, please keep your mask up, like they would with it, please tuck in your jersey. And then if they don't follow those, adhere to that, they'll talk to the coach and say, can you please take your player out until they can come back in with a tucked in jersey or with their mask up.
Hmm. We're definitely learning on the fly here. If
Yeah.
that's interesting. So what has completely changed how we live our lives is treated as an untucked jersey on the basketball floor.
That is correct. And you know what? The tough part is it's game to game. There are some officials we've had who have been great about it. They're on the kids. Some of them are, more focused on officiating the game and don't really pay attention to that aspect of it. But, everyone's doing the best they can. And they're trying to now officiate with new rules. And
Yeah, I was going to say, you must have a little bit more. I mean, I know you respect all officials anyway. I don't mean to insinuate that, but coaches must. I mean, a lot of these officials are older, grown men, probably in that high risk area, if you were to really think about it. And I can imagine a lot of the coaching staffs have given a little bit of a tip of the cap to those guys too, as well.
oh, hands down. I mean, what they're doing is commendable. It's if they are all old, they're not young, right? And they're putting themselves at risk by entering a gym and being around players. And it shows their dedication to their craft and the fact that, how much they love the game. Because a lot of officials, I'm sure, wish they could be coaches. They just don't have the time, and they're just trying to stay a part of the game. I know they don't do it for the money, because it's not, it's not a big payout, but it's good to see them too and communicate with them and catch up with some old guys.
It is crazy. We were talking a little bit off the air about at home life, and I know for me, basketball, I used to play 2-3 times a week. This has been my gym. I haven't been back to it since it started, but I hear the nets are down. They've converted it into kind of a different center, and I don't know how many other gyms are in that boat, but it has been. I mean, basketball is such a part of so many people's lives, and it's. I'm telling you, man, I miss it. I've been taking up other sports and trying other things, but I miss playing ball.
Yeah. I mean, I used to play just for exercise. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go run on a treadmill, but I'll chase a ball around like a little dog. I love it. But yeah, it's been tough. It's definitely been tough.
It's so much better than just running on a treadmill. Yeah, it's a better workout for me, and and you can do it all day. And I don't know, it's crazy. What's the when practices come down? So I mean, you can't have any. I would imagine you're not inviting any teams in for scrimmages at all to start the year when you had those opportunities, right? There was nothing.
No, so it's the state comes down with their guidelines on what we can do and what we can't do. And then
has that been annoying, by the way, especially with sports? Like I feel like there was a lot of people that weren't on the same page, or at least the communication maybe wasn't there. Was that a tough process dealing with the state guidelines?
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to, then it goes league to league. So, you got some schools who were able to practice all year because they lifted the coach limitation. So I know some basketball teams, not in our league, but in other leagues, that were practicing in the fall. And I think due to our school size throughout our league, it wouldn't make sense to have basketball like a year-round sport, just because, now, or any sport, right? Because then you're going to start taking from other programs, and you want these kids to have a full experience of high school and play as many sports as they want to, and not feel obligated to have to play basketball, every single day of their life.
Crazy. And what about I know Kyle has done, the athletic director, Kyle Hodson, has done some stuff with bringing these games to the television and streaming and that sort of thing, which is cool. I don't know, is that more pleasant sometimes, not having that parent yelling that my son needs more playing time? I'm just kidding.
In all honesty, I'm very fortunate. Like I do, and I'm not even just saying this, like the parents we have are so understanding. They're so kind. They're so helpful. I can't tell you how many have reached out to, provide food for our players, whatever, like they want to, but just with everything going on, I can't say let's have a pasta party, right? Like,
yeah, I was going to ask about that. You mentioned the locker room, but I mean, that stuff's missing too, right?
Yeah. Like our guys used to go out to breakfast all the time. They used to go like to the park lunch after a win. And I'm sure while we could still do that in a safe manner, it's just like the perception of how it looks, and whether we're as safe as possible or not. If our basketball teams at the park lunch all having dinner together, it just looks bad. And I'm not trying to portray that image, and more importantly, just keep our guys safe. But it's because you want to support the small businesses too. Like I want to go there and give them money, right? But just where we're at right now, it wouldn't be a good image for us right now.
I did want to give a shout out too. We had the park lunch on. Dan, the owner, came on just a couple of weeks ago, and he's got helped out there by that Barstool Fund. So I was happy to see that all worked out for Dan. So hopefully that place will keep running strong here through the years.
That I'm telling you, he runs a phenomenal business there. He has a huge heart. He's a great guy, and I know I'll keep on buying cheeseburgers there all day. But I think if people in our community can do whatever it takes to keep that spot alive and in business, I mean, it's just such a part of our community.
We need a place to go after the games. That's
I really can. I can send the players there, but if I go there, it's I can't be doing that. That's when you get talking to the parents after they've had a few, and it just gets dicey.
That's how you avoid that parent conversation. There you go.
Yep.
Just final few minutes again, Dave Clay here joining us, Newburyport High School basketball coach in a year unlike any other, pandemic basketball. What about state tournament wise? Is this going to be different? Do you have to get to a certain number? It's already gone, right? I mean, They're not going to actually have the brackets, but I mean, is it playing for like the title just by record at the end? How does that work?
That's what it seems like it's going to be so far. I know Kyle has been trying to get the league together to have, and hopefully this will, go throughout all sports, but have a Cape Ann League tournament. Like kind of like, the ACC and the SEC, they have their season, they have the ACC tournament, and then they go into March Madness. So he wants to kind of create a similar vibe where, after our 10 games that we have, we take the top 4 in each division or each, bracket, and then play out to a champion there, which I mean, anything that could resemble any kind of tournament, and that would be awesome. Yeah,
I bet that'd be cool for the kids. That's a good idea, thinking outside the box. And speaking of the kids, that's one thing that I've been feeling through all of this is, especially at the high school level, NBA, not so much, college a little bit, but especially at the high school level. One of the coolest things for me and probably for you as a coach is seeing like all the young kids at your games. And I mean, literally you start thinking about that. I remember being a young kid and seeing the kids that were 10, 15 years older than me and thinking, oh, I'll be there someday. I want to be that kid. And I mean, that's a cool moment, not only for the youngster, but also for the high school kid. It's, oh yeah, these kids idolize me. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And you're missing that right now. I feel like that's something that bugs me a little bit.
Yes, it is. That's, man, there's so many little kids that show up to our games, and it makes me so happy to see them. Like, just even paying attention for a little bit, their excitement, the joy they have watching the guys on our team. And then, like, they're always giving high fives after the game to our players as they walk out. It serves both groups so well. And I'm missing those guys. I mean, I know them all, like, second grade and first grade and up, but I have an idea what my starting lineup will be when those second graders come to the high school, like, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But the good thing is, though, our youth organization is really doing a lot to keep our kids playing with limited facilities right now. And
you were running some summer programs outside too, right? I think I saw some Twitter.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
That was fun. We had gone from quarantining, not seeing kids, doing Zoom. So now you're in front of the kids, you're outside. So it's a little bit, it's safe. That was like one of the best summers I've had. Just the kids were just so excited to be outside and to see their friends and then playing basketball on top of that it was awesome. It was a good environment.
Yeah, that must be a whole different thing, trying to tell a young kid like that, you got to keep that mask on while playing ball. I'm sure they're used to it now, but that's going to be tough this past summer.
That was the challenge. But, they did the best. Everyone's doing the best they can. And it's definitely a lot more difficult on the younger kids. And, my heart goes to those elementary age kids. And, it's just such a large part. It's such an important part of their growth right now, and interacting with people, adults and their peers, and not having that opportunity as they normally would is definitely, I think, challenging.
Dave Clay, I know we were talking before off the air. You and I were both married to teachers, so it's we know what it's like. And I think let's say if people didn't respect teachers enough before this whole thing, I think it's safe to say they do now, because it is not an easy environment, and they sacrifice a lot. And boy, when we don't have them doing their jobs, things kind of shut down, don't they?
Yep.
So it is crazy. But Dave Clay, you stay healthy, family stay healthy, team stay healthy, and keep rolling, man. Wish you best of luck throughout the rest of the season. And it's great to see you again, hopefully in studio again soon.
Drew, I can't wait to see you again. And next time we'll get some players on here. I know,
right,
I know they missed that whole part of it. It's all part of the season, going to see you, and you do a great job. So thank you for continuing this, because I'm sure it's difficult doing it through Zoom than in person.
Welcome to my kitchen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kitchen.
Oh, thank you. Yes, as you can see, it's all me. Yeah, no, this would be my wife.
And those are beautiful. Do you get those flowers for your wife?
Yes, it is. Well, one of them is actually a coworker. I think Shayla. We can give Shayla a shout out. But it was my wife's birthday the other day, so those were left over. So there you go.
That's awesome. Please tell her I said happy birthday. That's great.
I will. She's teaching right now, but I will let her know.
Awesome.
Dave Clay, stay healthy, man. Keep rolling through the season. Go get some wins, and we'll see you when this thing gets back to normal. All right.
All right. Sounds great, Drew. Thank you.
See you, Dave.
See ya.
Dave Clay, real good guy right there. Always enjoy spending some time with Dave Clay. Newburyport basketball, great coach, great guy, and hope you enjoyed that. Little insight into the basketball season. It is crazy.
Sorry, I think I got off early.
Oh, you're back. There you are.
Sorry.
you didn't want to go. We missed each other so much. Hang on. I'll say goodbye afterwards. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in live at Drew's house. Bye-bye now.